Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today's video is going to be formatted a little differently because, as you can see, I have the body and camper for my custom SCX24 build all painted up and basically ready to assemble. Last week I had a little bit of a cold, didn't think any of y'all wanted to hear none of that sore throat raspy voice, so I didn't go through and do a complete step-by-step of painting. It was basically just spraying, taping, a little more spraying. I decided I wanted to do a pinstripe where the two colors separated, so went ahead and did that. And then I shot a clear coat over the whole thing. This is a polyurethane clear. It shines really nicely. I could sand it and buff it and make it look even better, but for this scale, I think we're gonna leave it alone. You may also see I started putting some windows in. This has been pretty tough in what I've been working on lately because there was no windows included with this model or nothing like that, no channels for windows to go in. I just had to cut Lexan out to the shape and put them in there, and I'm learning that I'm not great at gluing Lexan into hard bodies. You can see some of that shoe glue sticking around the side there. I'm gonna try to clean that up as best as possible, and we're gonna put some tint over just about everything. I think I'm gonna leave the windshield clear, but everything else is gonna be tinted. Not really doing an interior here, so I'm not worried about it. And we're gonna assemble this thing and do a little bit of a first drive. Now, the camper won't be completely finished, but I will put the pins in it, put the chassis back together, and get it running. And in another video, maybe we'll come back and do the interior of the camper, or should I say the tent style pop-up. So now that you're caught up to where I'm at, we're gonna jump into those windows, get some tint put on them, and then start putting this thing together. To go ahead and tint the windows, I masked up the windshield like I talked about. I'm just gonna leave a tint strip, I guess, on the top. This is gonna be pretty interesting. You're gonna go along for a ride with me because I'm not sure how I'm gonna get tint on that back glass or those two side back glasses. I have this plate in the bottom that my hinge mounts to, and I really can't get the airbrush back there, so that'll be pretty interesting. I may have to notch it a little bit, which I can, but we'll see how the airbrush fits in there and try to get some tint sprayed on those windows. I did have to trim a small section out the bottom, and I think I got some pretty good coverage on this now. I know what a lot of you are thinking. Why not just paint them before I put those windows in? And that's because I have some experience with that before. Those of you who've been here a while may remember my micro drag truck. This is a Lexan body, had a clear windshield as well. I painted this windshield using this same paint actually, and put it in using shoe glue as well. And you can see on the top here for sure where this body kind of caved in, and it actually affected the paint underneath as well, but didn't want to put shoe glue on top of paint. I felt like it might have cracked the paint and broke up and not gave me a good look. While we let that tint dry, we're gonna go ahead and put the camper together. Let's see if I even remember how to put this thing back together. Oh man, that's true, I almost forgot. A good bit of you mentioned in the last video where I built this camper, the wheels were just too big considering the size of the RC four-wheel drive ones that I was using on the truck. So I picked up another set for the camper. We're gonna go ahead and put these bead locks together right quick. That way I can mount them on the axles or swing arms, whatever you wanna call them, and get them mounted on the camper. Man, I forgot how much of a pain those were to actually put together. But anyway, back to building. Well, actually it's not completely done, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of running footage this week, a little bit of a teaser before we get it out in the dirt for real. I have a couple more things to add. First off is bumpers. I started making those already, but I don't have them finished and painted to be able to install. Another thing, as I'm grabbing the camper back here, you can see the camper sitting kind of high. I did adjust those back springs. I replaced them on the truck itself. That way it'll bring the truck higher and level it off, but the camper's still kind of sitting high. I've been looking over it, trying to figure out what I can do there, and there's a couple of things, but I'm thinking about adjusting the suspension on the camper itself. Maybe laying those shocks back a little bit. That's gonna be kind of difficult being that it's 3D printed and glued into place already, but I'm gonna work on that a little bit. As well on the camper, we still have the entire interior to build. Now, it won't be a complete interior, but I want some tent type material, you know, like that vinyl or something like that. Whenever I pop it up, you'll be able to see that and it'll look like a tent or a camper. And to finish everything off will be some lights. The SCX24 came with headlights originally, and I used those in a couple of my past builds, but we're not gonna be using those this time. I got some brand new white LEDs coming in, as well as some red ones, and I wanna put tail lights here, and I've been sort of thinking about trying to find a way to add some tail lights to the camper as well, since the holes are already there. That'll just be running a wire, but I wanna run that wire cleanly where it doesn't look like a giant cable sticking out on the side of the tongue of the trailer. So those couple things left over, but I'm really happy with this little build. This was a fun build, although it took me way too long. And so far so good. It's pretty fun to drive. It seems pretty capable. I mean, that's a pretty big rock I'm crawling over there. But we'll just have to see how it handles out there in the dirt, in the field, whenever it's completely done. So I hope you all enjoyed my little build along with this Blazer and the camper. Make sure to leave a like down below if you enjoyed these videos. Let me know down in the comments what you think about how it came out and what else you think it needs to set it off and completely finish the look. As always, make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. And as always, thanks again for watching. Peace.